My name is Havana Mercer. I'm 34 years old. 6 years ago, my husband died on a frozen highway, and 3 hours later, I gave birth alone. And the people who were supposed to save us chose a vacation instead. Let me take you back to February 12th, 2021. My husband Caleb had already left for work when I woke up. He was a middle school science teacher, always out the door before sunrise on Fridays to beat the traffic into Charlotte. I remember rolling over, touching the still warm side of the bed. His coffee mug was half full on the kitchen counter. His jacket was draped over the chair. I was 28 weeks pregnant. Our daughter, we'd already named her Iris, was kicking. I put my hand on my stomach and thought, just 12 more weeks. Just 12 more weeks and we'd be a real family. My phone rang just after 6 a.m. Unknown number. Something made me pick up. The voice on the other end was calm and professional. The kind of calm that means something terrible has already happened. There had been an accident on I-77 North. Black ice from the storm the night before. Caleb's car hit a patch at mile marker 16, spun out, and slammed into the median barrier. He was being rushed to the hospital. I didn't remember getting dressed or driving. I just remember the coffee mug. I remember thinking, he forgot his jacket. He'll be cold. It was 28 degrees outside. I got to the hospital before 7. A doctor came out less than an hour later. Young, maybe 30, blood on his scrubs. He didn't say anything at first. He just looked at me, and I knew. They had done everything they could. The impact caused severe internal injuries. Caleb was gone 43 minutes after the accident. That's when the first contraction hit. That afternoon, Iris Rose Mercer was born via emergency C-section. She weighed 2 pounds, 4 ounces. She was 12 weeks early. She didn't cry. I woke up in a recovery room alone, surrounded by nothing but beeping machines and fluorescent light. A neonatologist named Dr. Tu Patel sat beside my bed and told me my daughter was on a ventilator. She was being monitored for brain bleeds and lung development. Babies born at 28 weeks have a 90% survival rate, she said, but complications are almost guaranteed. She handed me a Polaroid. Iris was smaller than my hand, covered in tubes and wires. I could barely see her face. The next morning, a hospital billing representative named Patricia sat across from me in a windowless office. NICU care costs $9,800 per day, estimated 8 to 10 week stay. Insurance would cover a portion, but we needed $38,000 by Monday at 5 p.m. If we didn't have it, hospital policy required transferring Iris to UNC Medical Center in Chapel Hill, 2 hours away from the specialists who already knew her case, away from any chance I had to visit between shifts. Because by that same morning I had taken a part-time job restocking supplies in the hospital cafeteria just to stay close. I called my parents 37 times over the next 2 days. I kept a log. I don't know why. Maybe I thought I'd need proof later. Most calls went to voicemail. Some were declined after 2 rings. My mother answered a few times, promised to talk to my father, and never called back. I left 19 voicemails. In one of them, I said, "Dad, I can see you're reading my texts. I'm not asking for a gift. I'll sign a promissory note. I'll give you collateral. Iris's oxygen dropped twice today. They're talking about surgery. Please just pick up." My brother Declan called once. He was at a restaurant with his girlfriend when he called, and I could hear laughter in the background. He told me our parents were living on pension and Social Security. He told me I was asking them to lose a $6,000 non-refundable deposit on their Hawaii trip. He told me even if they gave me $6,000, I'd still be $32,000 short. So what was the point? I told him the point was showing up. He said that was emotional reasoning and hung up. The deadline morning came. My brother called early. He explained that our parents had planned this Hawaii trip since last May, that our father had worked 40 years in the insurance industry and this was his retirement dream, that our mother had wanted to see Hawaii since she was a little girl. He said, "Savannah, you're 28, you'll recover from this. They won't get another chance at Hawaii." I looked at Iris through the incubator glass. She had gained 2 ounces. The nurses said that was progress. I hung up. I cobbled together everything I could find. Iris's paternal grandparents wired $2,500, everything in their checking account, and apologized that it wasn't more. I got denied for a personal loan. I sold Caleb's car. I drained our joint account. I raised $8,100 on GoFundMe from 63 strangers. I still wasn't close. Then a nonprofit called the Angel Fund for Premies approved a $15,000 grant. Emergency Medicaid began processing. We made it past the deadline. By the narrowest possible margin, Iris stayed. That night, I got an email from my father. He said they felt terrible, but that I wasn't seeing the bigger picture. That they had worked their entire lives for this trip. That I was being selfish. That Caleb had life insurance, and I'd be fine in a few weeks. He said they'd send $500 when they got home to help with groceries or whatever. There was an attachment. I clicked it. It was a photo. My parents at the pool smiling, my mother holding a Mai Tai, my father in a Hawaiian shirt, the caption reading, "First sunset in paradise." I replied in less than 5 minutes. I didn't revise a single word. I told them not to send the $500. I told them they had chosen a vacation over their granddaughter's life, and I would remember that every single day for the rest of mine. Then I blocked all 3 of them and never looked back. In May, after 89 days in the NICU, Iris came home. She weighed 5 pounds, 8 ounces. She still needed oxygen, glasses for her retinopathy, physical therapy twice a week. But she was alive, and she was mine. In April, Caleb's life insurance check arrived. $180,000. I bought a small 2-bedroom house in Concord, got a job in medical billing, and quietly rebuilt our lives. Just the 2 of us. 4 years of silence. Not a word from my family. Then, in September 2025, Iris started pre-kindergarten. The night of her 2nd day of school, my phone rang. Unknown number from Scottsdale, Arizona. I almost didn't answer. It was Declan. He had bad news. Our parents had died in a car accident the week before, driving back from a beach vacation in the Outer Banks. A suspected heart attack sent the car off Bonner Bridge. They died instantly. Declan said there was an estate, and we needed to talk. I met him at a Starbucks that Friday. He arrived with a leather folder and an air of practiced calm. Total estate value, $1.65 million, no filed will, which meant under intestate succession law, I was legally entitled to half, $825,000. Then he flipped to a document in the folder, a will, dated July 15, 2021, 5 months after the NICU. It excluded me entirely. Estrangement initiated by daughter's unreasonable demands. He pulled out one more document. A life insurance policy, $500,000, purchased on April 18, 2021. One day after Caleb's life insurance check had cleared. The application notes read, "Family legacy for financially responsible heir. Daughter estranged due to unreasonable demands. Son stable and trustworthy." Declan had already collected the payout, $530,000 with interest. He pushed a waiver across the table. Sign away my legal rights to the estate, and the whole thing goes away quietly. If I refused, he'd submit the will to probate and make sure everyone knew I had abandoned my dying parents and refused every attempt at reconciliation. He said Iris would grow up knowing her mother chose pride over family. I told him I needed time to think. I consulted a probate attorney. She said the unfiled will was legally meaningless without submission. She said I had roughly a 60% chance of winning a contest on grounds of undue influence. She also said estate litigation could cost $50,000 to $150,000 and take 2 to 3 years. I went home and wrote a letter to Caleb that I'd never send, the 21st in a box I kept in my closet. I told him I didn't know if I was fighting for justice or just proving that I was as stubborn as the people I resented. I told him I missed having someone who could tell me what to do. A few days later, I called Declan and told him to meet me. He arrived with the waiver, a pen, and a notary stamp. He thought I was there to sign. Instead, I pushed the waiver back across the table. I told him I was filing a formal contest the next morning, arguing that the will had been created under his undue influence, and that our father's insurance application contained material misrepresentation by omitting that the so-called estrangement was the direct result of his own refusal to help during a documented medical emergency. I told him I had 41 call logs, 19 voicemails, hospital billing records, and every email they had ever sent me. He offered me $200,000. I stood up and walked out. The court date is in January. I have spent $14,000 on legal fees. Every check I write, I think about what else that money could do. But I keep writing them because this stopped being about money a long time ago. It's about the fact that you don't get to abandon someone in the worst moment of their life and then rewrite the story to make yourself the victim. You don't get to buy an insurance policy the day after you find out someone got their settlement, specifically designed to cut them out, and then call it a family legacy. Iris is almost 5 now. She's decorating our Christmas tree as I write this. She has 2 best friends named Chloe and Daisy. She can read 47 sight words. She asked me last week if we were going to be rich. I knelt down next to her and told her we might get some money, or we might not. Either way, we have each other, and that is what matters. She told me she just wanted me to be happy. I am happy, not because of the money and not because of the court case. I'm happy because I know who I am. I'm the person who called 41 times. I'm the person who sold her wedding ring and worked in a cafeteria to stay 3 floors away from her daughter's incubator. I'm the person who kept every receipt, not because I wanted revenge, but because I knew that one day the truth would matter. My parents thought they could erase me with a signature. Declan thought he could buy my silence. They were wrong. Whatever the court decides, I'll know I stood up. And when Iris is old enough to understand, she'll know her mother didn't walk away. That's worth more than $825,000. And if you were in my position, what would you do?